the contrary, worse?
Well, the future of the ocean is what we're seeing right now, which is an escalating diminishment of biodiversity. We've lost 90% of the fishes over the last 100 years. We've had a 40% diminishment in phytoplankton population since 1950. So there's some very serious situations that have been happening as far as a diminishment of biodiversity. The problem is most people are unaware of that. By 2048, according to Dr. Boris Worm of Dalhousie University and Dr. Daniel Pauly of the University of British Columbia, who are the two foremost oceanographic fishery scientists, there won't be any fishing industry in 2048 because there won't be any fish. There won't be any coral reefs. So what we're looking at is an ecological disaster within our oceans, and that doesn't bode well for the future of humanity because, as I always say, if the ocean dies, we die. We don't live on this planet with a dead ocean, and as the ocean is diminished, our ability to survive is diminished.
That was a clip from one of the last interviews Captain Paul Watson gave in France in June 2016. He's now free to travel again after living in exile in Paris for 2 years under the protection of the French government. He was wanted by Costa Rica. There he was accused of intervening to stop a Costa Rican ship that was illegally finning sharks in Guatemalan waters. And Japan asked for his arrest on conspiracy charges stemming from a Sea Shepherd campaign to stop Japan's illegal whaling in the Southern Ocean. Today, Paul Watson has his dual citizen passports back from the US and from Canada. Paul Watson was co-founder of Greenpeace and led the campaign against the slaughter of baby seals in the late 70s. When Patrick Moore became president of Greenpeace Canada, he halted direct action and forced Watson out. Today, Patrick Moore is a spokesperson for Monsanto and the nuclear industry. Paul Watson never stopped his involvement in direct action. After his ouster from Greenpeace, he founded the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. It's an international, non-profit, marine wildlife conservation organization. Their mission is to end the destruction of habitat and the slaughter of wildlife in the world's oceans. Paul Watson is both praised and criticized for Sea Shepherd's practice of aggressive nonviolence. Watson says that some laws and conventions exist to protect the oceans and their inhabitants. However, these laws are very rarely enforced. He and his legal team make the case that non-governmental private organizations, such as Sea Shepherd, have the right to enforce international conservation laws in neutral waters. Sea Shepherd's crews have arrested poachers, removed illegal fishing nets, and chased vessels back into their home ports. They document their actions and collect and preserve evidence, turning that material over to authorities for prosecution. There are now many examples of Sea Shepherd assisting small nations that have no navy or coast guard to confront the international vessels that plunder their territorial waters. Of course, not all governments accept the enforcement power of Sea Shepherd, as is the case with Japan and Costa Rica. At the end of August 2016, Sea Shepherd launched the Ocean Warrior, the first ship fast enough to outrun the Japanese whaling fleet. Here are excerpts from a wide-ranging interview done in France in June 2016. You can see the whole hour on YouTube on the channel Climate State. The two French interviewers did not identify themselves, but their organization is ThinkerView.
Despite your fight, humanity does not measure the impact of losing biodiversity in oceans. So concretely, when are things going to change and how could it change?
for millions of years, the ocean has been the life support system of the planet. If you look at the Earth as a spaceship, which is traveling through space, which is what it is, every spaceship has a life support system, and it provides the food we eat, a regular